Welcome back, everybody. So y'all saw the stage 1 fish stocking video on establishing a new pond and lake. If you haven't, hit the channel, come like, subscribe. Stage 1's on there where we put in the 10,000 bluegill, 10,000 shellcracker here to this brand new 10-acre lake, 10-acre pond, whatever you want to call it. We gotta talk about this and come up with what constitutes the difference between a pond and a lake. Need to set some parameters so we know what to call it, because I go back and forth. I call it a lake, I call it a pond, whatever. You know, this is content that's all about ponds and lakes and waterways and all. Southeastern Pond Management's here, back with us here today for stage 2. So we're going to go down here and talk to them and, you know, figure out what all is involved in stage 2 on the fish stocking process, see what they've brought us, and then go on and find out what is next in the process. See, from the last video, I think we're up about another, I don't know, foot or so. It's been raining here in Georgia. We had rain come through last night, some more rain this morning. We had remnants of one of them tropical storms that come through Florida a few days ago, last week. That brought us 2 or 3 inches of rain. So this lake here, 10-acre lake pond, starting to fill up some. But we've still got probably, I don't know, another 6 or 8 feet to go. So you can see it is, the water still has not quite hit the end of the boat ramp. We've got a little water over there that's coming up into the boat docking area, but it's not quite up to that other seawall. So this thing still has a ways to go as far as getting water in it. So let's go down here and talk with Southeastern and figure out what we're doing today. So here for stage 2, how many of these things do we have in here today?
It's 20,000 fatheads and 20,000 golden shiners.
So stage 2, we've got 20,000 fathead minnows and 20,000 golden shiners.
They're actually mixed together.
This is like a bass buffet in a box right now. So stage 1, we had 10,000 bluegill, 10,000 shellcracker. And now we've got the golden shiners and fatheads. So why not put all these in? Why are we doing it in stages?
We're stocking these now to give them the chance to build their population up before we put the predators in.
Right.
We could have stocked the bluegill and fatheads really on the same day.
Okay.
It's just logistics. It worked out better to do them in 2 different times.
Okay, so there's not really a need to put separate prey species in at the same time. Since they're all prey, they can all go in at once. It was more or less just the,
on our end, the logistics.
Just worked out better that way. So there's no real need to separate prey species.
The only one we really separate, we'll stock the threadfin shad in the spring. They handle better in the spring right before they spawn. So
yeah.
They'll come along in probably April.
Now, the golden shiners and fatheads, are these going to breed and create like their own populations, recurring populations? So they're going to breed just like a bluegill and a shellcracker will? Correct. Okay.
By the time the bass go in June, we want this to be nothing but forage, left to right, everywhere they look. Just open their mouths and feed. Right. These fish will spawn.
Now I know when we did the bluegill and the shellcrackers, he had said that basically out of, I think it was 15 breeding pairs, they created like 50,000 minnows. How voracious of breeders are these fish?
I don't know the answer to that. I would say, based on today's stocking, you're probably talking about millions.
Millions.
Head count by this time next year.
Okay, so out of putting 20,000 of each, so basically 40,000 fish in today, they're going to multiply by next year into millions.
Yes.
For bass forage. That's good bang for your buck.
By the time when the bass fingerlings go in June of next year, there will be so many fatheads and shiners, just schools going by when the bass go in. They'll literally come out of the bucket and have a prey item in front of them immediately and start feeding right then.
Very, very cool, very interesting. That's what you want out of your bass. So think about you as a human being. If you are out running around trying to catch food, so if we didn't have KFC and Taco Bell or McDonald's on every corner to where we could stop in and get something to eat, if you're out having to expend a bunch of energy to get food, you're never going to gain any weight. As soon as you get food, you're going to have to burn those calories to go find more food.
We're going to set it up so they don't have to burn any calories.
That's right. Same thing goes with your fish. So if you've got bass that are swimming all over this 10-acre lake and they're having to swim all day long looking for food, they're going to burn up so much energy that they're never going to gain any weight, any mass, and you're not going to be catching your big old bass that you want to. So there they go, straight down the tube, coming into the water. We got to get them to grow big and strong, get some bass food out of them. See them pop out down there, going on like a carnival ride. Already see them swimming around. Very cool. Cap, we have put, let's see here, it was, what did we say, 10,000 bluegill, 10,000 shellcracker, 20,000 flathead minnows, and 20,000 golden shiners. So we have right at 60,000 little fish out here in this 10-acre lake now. It is November right now, and by the time June of next year runs around, so about 8 months, there will be millions of fish, millions of prey species out here for when. How many bass are we gonna put in?
Probably gonna do 50 per acre.
Okay, so 500 F1 bass, 500 F1 strain bass are gonna have them a million minnow buffet for when they show up. So basically, as they've explained it, the idea is you want your bass to not have to go very far at all for food, so they can sit there and eat, not expend much energy, put the pounds on for you to be able to catch them. They're gonna dump them in the water, and as soon as they hit the water, the idea is for them to have a whole meal sitting right in front of their face.
Yes, sir.
They won't have to go nowhere to find any food.
Couch potato bass.
Couch potato bass, that's what we want. So now let's talk about the F1 strain, and I know they've been out for years, but basically the F1 strain, Florida bass back in the day, so before they come up with the new genetics and stuff, Florida bass were always known to get really, really big, but they were lazy.
They're harder to catch when they reach adult size, is what
Yep.
the research showed. So that's why the F1 was developed.
Yep.
It's a cross between the Florida and the northern.
Yeah. So the northern bass was more aggressive, more fun to catch.
Correct.
But it wouldn't get as big because it was aggressive. It expends so much energy. It didn't have as much forage as what they had in Florida, so it wouldn't get as big. The Florida bass would get bigger, but they were harder to catch and weren't as much fun to catch because they weren't as aggressive.
Correct. So you get the best of both worlds, the large
Yep.
adult size, and they retain the aggressive nature throughout their lifespan.
Yeah. Now for the big fish that they've been catching out like California and stuff, some of those big lakes that they specially developed, those were all straight Florida strain bass, or were those F1s as well?
I think those were probably mostly Floridas. I really don't know the answer on the genetics on those fish, but you know, part of that is the forage. They're sitting there eating trout.
Yeah, they're feeding them the big lake trout and all that. So,
But I really don't know exactly what the genetics were on those fish. I want to say that those were mostly Floridas, but I'm not sure.
yeah. So between now and June, stocking bass, what else are we gonna have to do as far as management of this pond to keep things rolling? I know we talked about we're gonna get some feeders in.
Feeders are coming really whenever. The threadfin shad will go in the spring. I think we're gonna lime it between now and fertilization season. Start fertilizing in March.
Yep. So we got some more work to do, but this is basically we're taking a bare habitat. This was a brand new lake. It was sterilized. There was nothing growing in here. We're taking a brand new habitat and creating as much of a healthy, biodiverse population as we can to grow trophy bass and have good fishing and recreation out of it. And these gentlemen here, Southeastern Pond Management, they're all over the Southeast, multiple locations. Give them a call. They can take you they can come and check out your existing pond. They'll do electrofishing studies on it, biodiversity checks on it to see where your pond's currently at, what needs to happen to make it healthier, or they can take it from brand new and help create your own paradise. So we appreciate you guys being out here and talking with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Y'all take care. I wanted to come up here and show y'all this view. This is from the top of the dam here, looking back up the lake. It looks bigger to me than what they're talking, but when this thing is full, it's going to be around 9 to 10 acres. So keep saying the 10-acre mark, but to me it looks bigger. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm not really that great of a judge of size and all, but that's basically the view from the dam, looking back up towards the head section there. I don't know if you can see it up in the distance, but there's a really cool old house. Who knows how old that thing is or its history or what, but it looks really, really awesome. I don't know if y'all can zoom in on the video. I don't know if I can. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. No, it's not gonna work. But anyways, y'all can look up there. So the next stage is we got to set up some feeders, and one thing that Southeastern Pond Management does is there's different size, and I didn't realize this until just talking with them, but there's different size fish food. So there's different pellet size depending on what type of fish you're feeding. So since this is brand new, we're putting out 3 feeders. It's 1 for every 3 acres. So instead of going to that 4th, we're just going to stick with 3. Strategically place them around. You don't want your prey to have to go too far to eat. So there'll probably be like 1 up in the head section, 1 over there on that side of the pond down here, and 1 over here probably off of that peninsula. Just whatever makes sense. And then they'll bring a small fish food. So since these are brand new small minnows, they're gonna bring a really, really small pelletized type fish food. That'll be totally different than, the fish food that we'll be feeding, say, end of next year, once all these fish have kind of grown up and gotten bigger. And at that point, you'll kind of mix it to where you have some smaller size pellets and some larger size pellets and all that. So I thought that was pretty cool. There's a lot of thought that goes into this for growing like a new habitat and growing fish. So there's definitely a lot to it. It's hard to figure out all on your own. When you have somebody that specializes in something like Southeastern Pond Management does, I mean, that is their jobs. They specialize in pond management. So they've got the science figured out behind things. They have the tools, they have the equipment. Really great company to work with. They've been awesome through this whole process. So when you have something specialty like it comes to managing a pond habitat, you can do it on your own. You definitely can. If you're willing to put the time, work, effort, research into it, you can absolutely do it. But these guys can help you out along the way, and you might be able to share in some of it, have them do some of the more technical type things. They can write you out management plans, tell you step by step what to do when, and then you can take care of the legwork on making it happen, or you can hire them for full service. So things to think about when you come up and planning your own pond and all. So hope y'all are enjoying the content. We hope to have a lot more pond stuff out, and we're going to be doing a whole video series on this pond, and hopefully into next year or the next year or two, we're going to be doing some electro fishing videos on this thing, seeing how the fish have grown, and doing some hook and line fishing videos too, hopefully showing off what we're catching out of here. So, and not just with this lake, but with some other bodies of water we've been working on too. So y'all take care. Please like, subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.